For most of my career, I've been researching how people adopt technology and how they turn it into real value. A lot of that work was in the B2B space, where the question was usually how do regular people inside companies actually use complex software and hardware in ways that move the business forward? What's interesting is that the same kind of question exists in home energy now. And in my view, it's way more interesting because when we talk about technologies like home batteries, we're asking a lot from homeowners. We're asking for a meaningful financial decision as well as financial literacy. We're asking them to understand a fairly complex system and a lot of technical terms that most people aren't familiar with, at least not out of the gate. And in a lot of cases, we're asking them to believe in value that isn't always obvious on day one. That's a big part of why I'm focusing my research efforts right now on residential battery adoption. Over the past several weeks, I've been conducting in depth homeowner interviews with people who've already installed a battery, and then a bunch of others that are actively considering one but haven't moved forward yet. The goal here is to understand what actually creates momentum, what causes hesitation, and how people make sense of all of that value. I'll continue to do more interviews, but now with several of those conversations captured and cataloged, this is where the second part of the Habitelligence methodology comes into play. So the interviews provide the texture. They demonstrate the real language that people use. They show you what homeowners are confused by, what they care about, and what they sometimes discover after installation. Now I'm taking those patterns and building the next layer on top of it, which is a broader, more structured survey designed to quantify what's happening across the market. So instead of just hearing that a homeowner was uncertain about payback or unclear about backup value or unaware that they might be able to get paid for access to their battery, we can start measuring how common those patterns really are. That combination of anecdotal conversational data combined with structured survey findings really helps connect the dots. So the interviews help explain why people think the way that they do, and the survey data helps show how often those patterns are happening and where the biggest opportunities might be to reduce friction and accelerate adoption. I'm getting close to launching that study now, and before I do, I'm speaking with a small number of OEMs and industry leaders to pressure test the survey and make sure the questions are aligned with what the market really needs to understand. If this is relevant to what your team is working through, I'd welcome the conversation before the study goes live.